The tension is thick as we reach the final showdown of the Directors' Cup semifinals. Two legendary directors stand on the precipice of cinematic glory, each armed with a single, carefully chosen masterpiece from their illustrious careers. This is it, the last chance to secure a place in the finals. The rules remain the same. One movie per director, 4 rounds of intense scrutiny, best scene, best line, musical impact, and overall cinematic merit. Every frame, every line of dialogue, every note of music will be dissected and debated. The weight of their entire filmographies rests on this single battle. Who will rise to the challenge and claim the final spot in the Directors' Cup finale? The anticipation is electric, and the cinematic clash is about to begin. Welcome, cinephiles, to a battle of cinematic juggernauts. In one corner, we have Christopher Nolan's mind-bending masterpiece, Inception, a film that redefined the heist genre with its dream-within-a-dream narrative and stunning visuals. And in the other corner, the Coen Brothers' stark and suspenseful neo-western No Country for Old Men, a film that explores the dark heart of humanity with chilling precision. Tonight, we'll delve deep into these critically acclaimed films, dissecting their strengths and weaknesses across 4 engaging rounds. Round 1. It's scene, line, and music with a personal touch. We'll explore the most memorable scenes, lines, and musical moments from each film, sharing our personal interpretations and nostalgic connections. Round 2. Awards and critical acclaim. We'll examine the critical reception and accolades bestowed upon each film, weighing the opinions of experts and industry recognition. Round 3. Trivia and recasting. Prepare for a journey through fascinating trivia and behind-the-scenes revelations. Then, we'll put our casting director hats on and reimagine these films with a modern twist. Round 4. The verdict. We'll ask our esteemed judge, Gemini, to weigh the evidence and declare a victor in this battle of cinematic ingenuity. Get ready for a captivating and insightful showdown as we determine once and for all which film reigns supreme. Is it Christopher Nolan's Inception or the Coen Brothers' No Country for Old Men? Let the battle begin. All right, Bern, we have a big one for him today. It's Inception versus No Country for Old Men. We saw this coming down the pipe. 2 of the best directors in the game give us 2 of their best movies ever. But before we dive into the first round, there's something we need to do. Do you know what it is?
Would that happen to be the tale of the tape?
That's right, it is now time for the tale of the tape. Let's get to these 2 cinematic heavyweights in the ring for a head-to-head comparison. Here's the tale of the tape for Inception and No Country for Old Men. Release date. Inception's release date was July 16th, 2010. No Country for Old Men release date. It was the original was November 9th, 2007, and it was a limited release. And then November 21st, 2007 was a worldwide release. Runtime. Inception's runtime, 2 hours and 28 minutes, while No Country for Old Men's runtime, 2 hours and 2 minutes. Film budget. Inception's film budget, $160 million. No Country for Old Men's film budget, $25 million. Opening weekend box office gross. Inception's opening weekend came in at $62.8 million, where No Country for Old Men opening weekend came at $1.2 million for the initial release, and then for the limited release, and then $11.8 million for the worldwide release. And then worldwide box office gross. No Country for Old Men's worldwide box office gross was $171.6 million. So they did pretty well. Inception's worldwide box office gross came in at $836.8 million. Big numbers, baby. That's right. Blu-ray, DVD Blu-ray sales for Inception. It came out in 2010. That was towards the end of the DVD Blu-ray era. They clock it at 100 million in DVD Blu-ray sales. And then for No Country for Old Men, they're looking at 60 million, which they were kind of towards the end of that as well. Maybe not as much, but 60 million sounds about right. And then the studios. Inception studio was Warner Brothers. And then No Country for Old Men was Miramax and the Paramount Vantage. And that is the tale of the tape. Let's move on to round one. Round one, fight! Okay, in round one, we're going to be going over a couple things. We're going to go over the best line, the best scene, and the musical score from each film. We'll have 3 minutes to give our beautiful opinions with some personal touches. I'll be starting off as I am the better man and more handsome man. Start the clock. Inception is a film that unfolds like a carefully constructed dream, filled with visually stunning and intellectually stimulating moments. However, for me, the best scene, the rotating hallway fight scene, stands out as a true masterpiece of cinematic ingenuity. This gravity-defying sequence where Cobb and Arthur battle projections in a rotating hotel hallway is a testament to Christopher Nolan's commitment to practical effects and his ability to bend the rules of reality. This scene is not just a visual spectacle, it's a metaphor for the film's exploration of the malleability of dreams and the power of the subconscious. It's a moment that leaves audiences breathless, questioning the very nature of perception. Beyond the visual brilliance of Inception, though, Inception is filled with thought-provoking lines that resonate long after the credits roll. And you know what I mean? First one is Cobb's poignant declaration, "You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling." It serves as a powerful reminder of the boundless potential of the human mind. This line encapsulates the film's central themes of ambition, creativity, and the courage to pursue the seemingly impossible. It's a line that encourages us to embrace our dreams and challenge the limitations of our reality. Very true. And then, of course, no discussion of Inception would be complete without acknowledging Hans Zimmer's iconic score. You see this score all over the place in social media and shorts clips and everything like that. Zimmer masterfully blends orchestral with electronic elements, creating a soundtrack that is both haunting and exhilarating. The music perfectly complements the film's dreamlike atmosphere, building tension and suspense with its pulsating rhythms and soaring melodies. The time theme, in particular, has become synonymous with film. Its melancholic beauty capturing the emotional core of Cobb's journey. Zimmer's score is not just background music, it's an integral part of the film's narrative, enhancing the emotional impact of every scene and elevating Inception to a truly immersive cinematic experience. Dude, I'm telling you, the rotating hallway fight scene, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was so good. He was honestly, I loved seeing him in this because he was next level. This pumped him up so high in a lot of people's books, and he's just been killing it ever since then. But this was awesome. So that's my time. And as always, that's my nuts on your chin. Take it away, Bern.
We're going to talk about No Country for Old Men. Carter Burwell directed the score and composed it for No Country for Old Men. It is extremely minimalist. It relies heavily on sound effects and ambient noise. And if you actually go through the movie, there's less than 16 minutes of score in the entire 2 hour and 2 minute movie. The Coens very specifically wanted you to live in this world. They didn't want any distraction. They didn't want anything pulling you out of it. Ooh, you talk about scenes in a film. If you have not seen Anton Chigurh, played by Javier Bardem, have a conversation with an old man who's just trying to sell him some gas, then you have not seen cinema. This is one of the most tense, strange, alarming, uncomfortable scenes that I've seen on a movie screen in my entire life. This poor old guy just wants to sell him some gas. Chigurh gets annoyed by him, implies maybe I'm going to murder you depending on how this coin lands. And we all get to sit around for almost 5.5 minutes of something that lesser directors and screenwriters would have just glanced right over. There's a lot of incredible lines in this movie. I'm going to give you my runner up right away. It's one of the few moments of humor. It's when Josh Brolin's character, Llewellyn's leaving, and he says, "If I don't come back, tell mother I love her." To which his wife says, "Your mother's dead, Llewellyn." And he says, "Well, then I'll tell her myself." I mean, that's just a fun line. That's a little bit of humor. But the real line that I think encompasses this entire film is when Llewellyn is on his way to meet his wife and mother-in-law at a hotel later in the film to pass off the money, send her to safety, and then go on his hunt for Shakur. He's walking by the pool. There's a lady there who says, "Hey, cowboy, what's going on? Got some beers up in my room if you want to hang out." He kindly explains, "Hey, I'm married." She says, "Well, is that who you're looking for? Poking out the window? You waiting for your wife?" He says, "I'm just looking for what's coming." And she says, "Yeah, no one ever sees that." Moments later, Llewellyn is killed by not the person that we were watching, not what we thought was going to happen. It completely explains how random and strange and chilling the violence in this movie is. One small fact to know is that this book was written through the eyes of the sheriff, Ed Tom Bell. So the title might make more sense because in the novel, he's watching all of this violence. He's watching all of this complication. He's watching all this senseless killing and wondering, where do I belong in this world? Because there is no country left for old men. That's my time.
Wow. Bern, absolutely chilling stuff. Very well done. Very well written. And that ends round one. So we're going to head on to round two. Round two. Fight! Okay. In this round, we're going to do this. We're going to go over the best picture. We're going to go over the awards and critical acclaim. So first off, before we dive into that, here's what we got for awards and critical acclaim. I hope you're ready, Bern, because it just ends up being nuts on your chin the whole time.
You sure about that?
Maybe not. So Inception dreams big in this round. So Inception won 4 Academy Awards: Best Visual Effects, Best Cinematography, Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing. It was praised for its originality, visual effects, and complex narrative. No Country for Old Men won 4 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Adapted Screenplay. It was praised for its writing, performances, and suspenseful atmosphere. While both films achieved significant award success, I would say Inception takes the technical achievement awards, but maybe No Country for Old Men took a couple of the other ones. So, okay, so this is what I'm going to do for my round two. Yeah, so I'm going to just redo the list of the 10 best pictures. So in this one, I'm leaving out Inception because obviously I would put it in there. But here's the movies that I think should have been nominated for Best Picture that year, and then I'll go over the movies that were nominated for Best Picture. So
you're gonna do yours first, and then
because they're pretty similar. Mine, okay. I just tweaked a couple because honestly, they did pretty good with getting it right this year. Because there was a couple that it was like some of the because there's some years there's always a couple eggs that you're like, this looking back, we ain't dealing with this. But this year they did pretty good. They didn't miss a lot,
right.
Like they nailed it, So I'm pretty happy with this. Honorable mention, I'm gonna put in The Kids Aren't All Right, or The Kids Are All Right, and The Book of Eli, and You Don't Know Jack as my honorable mentions for this year. And then
Book of Eli was awesome.
Yeah. Also, Alice in Wonderland came out this year, which was a fun one. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I wouldn't put that as the best picture. Despicable Me started this year, same thing, another fun one. But here we go. Here is your boys' list of the best picture nominees for me. This is what I would put. So wasn't nominated, but Shutter Island, Definitely putting that on there, dude. That's DiCaprio had Inception and Shutter Island in the same year. He was directed by Scorsese and Christopher Nolan in the same year.
I feel
Wild.
like that's such a sandbag. The only reason Shutter Island is not on that list is because Inception was. Like, I feel like maybe they didn't want to pile on DiCaprio, but like in most years, if you have 10 Oscar nominations, how many of those years does Shutter Island not sneak into the
None.
top 10? You know,
Dude,
like
all and like the performances were like, did that just show? I mean, DiCaprio is the best. Like he went from being like, Cobb in Inception, and then he was the detective that had lost his mind in Shutter Island. Like, what are we doing here?
also
Like,
think about the range from Scorsese, who's like, yeah, you
yeah,
know me for the things I do really, really well. You know me, my
yeah,
Goodfellas, Casino, Irishman, but like I can also make this movie.
yeah,
Don't
true.
sleep
And he
on me.
made it really well.
It was awesome.
I think that was kind of him being like, hey, nuts on your chin, guys. I can do it all.
Like
So, all
I
right,
feel like it should have been.
yeah. Let me keep moving. Shutter Island. Then I'd put Kick Ass. Love Kick Ass. Great movie. Aaron Johnson was awesome. And then also like a great spin on the superhero thing. Then I put How to Train Your Dragon, which that movie was it's so fucking good. I don't
Are
care
you
what age
ready?
you are. That movie is so good. What?
Are you ready for the new one?
Oh, dude, can't wait. It's great.
The
The
live
live
action?
action? Yeah. Then I put True Grit up there. Really good stuff. Coen
Great
Brothers.
directors.
Yeah, Coen Brothers. Then I put The Fighter, obviously one of my favorite movies. Honestly, this might be David O. Russell's best work. This movie is fucking awesome. Introduced me to the Black Keys, the group, the Black Keys. This is
Hmm.
this movie was so good. Christian Bale won for best supporting in that, which deservedly so. He nailed it. And then 127 Hours, James Franco, and then The Social Network. Honestly, everyone's like, "Oh, they made a movie about Facebook. Oh, it's a face." It was just a really
It's a
good
really
movie
good movie.
and interesting, you
Yeah.
know. Then The King's Speech, which Colin Firth really liked him. Also, liked too that this was Colin Firth. He did a great job in this. Then a couple years later, he would be in The Kingsman and totally
Hmm.
flip who you thought Colin Firth was. And then Black Swan. Never saw the movie, but I saw the lesbian scene. How you doing? And then rounding it out with old Toy Story 3.
Oh, Toy Story 3, one of the greatest movies ever that I will never watch again. One was enough for me. I love you, Toy Story 3. How dare you do that to my soul? And
Can I tell you this? I remember when I was living in Roxborough, there was the garbage truck would come by and there would always be a purple bear on the front of it. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I saw Toy Story 3 and I was like,
mhm.
oh, okay, you got some TS3 fans over here,
Yeah,
So,
couple TS Tree fans. All right, so Maddie, those are your
yeah.
10 best films of the year. What did the Academy say?
Yeah, very similar. Academy did Winter's Bone, which I never saw. They also had True Grit, Toy Story 3, The Social Network, 127 Hours. Obviously Inception was nominated. Then The
Mhm.
Kids Are All Right and The Fighter, Black Swan, and then the winner for Best Picture was The King's Speech, which I don't know if this was the best movie that year, which I don't think it was. I think Inception was, but I think Colin Firth's performance, people were just all fucking smoking his cock about it. So they gave it to King's Speech. Dude, Sleeper, Jeffrey Rush was really good in this film too,
Yeah,
in King's Speech. But Inception
really good
fucking
movie.
broke the world. It broke the fucking world. Everyone saw that movie and was like, movies are now different. This is your life and the way you view everything is different. There's almost like Matrix when you're like questioning, like, are we?
Mhm.
Is it? And now with Inception, you're like, damn, if that could happen. I mean,
I
unbelievable.
really
Everyone in it, unbelievable.
I really enjoyed the King's Speech. I was
King's
very
Speech was good.
excited earlier today to rewatch Inception. Way more excited than I would have been to rewatch the King's Speech. And it's a
Agreed.
movie I like. It's just not the same. It's not an. It's a movie. It's not an experience. Inception is
Also,
an experience.
shout out Helen Bonham Carter. She's a fucking good one, Daddy. She is a good.
HBC.
Oh, love Helen Bonham Carter. So that's my list, Bern. Go ahead, take it away, Daddy. Yo.
All right. So what I'm contending with here is a 2007 release, which puts us in the 80th annual Academy Awards. Only 5 films nominated for Best Picture, but keeping with the spirit of what we're doing, I'm going to rattle off my 10, going
Okay.
from 10 to 1. And I will omit No Country for Old Men because it
Sure.
won Best Picture that year. Anyway, my honorable mentions are Juno, 300, Eastern Promises, and 30 Days of Night.
Dude, Eastern Promises is so goddamn good.
It's so
So
underrated.
good.
And
Oh,
it came
so
out like a year or two after A History of Violence, but Vigo has this kind of nice little like, I'm just doing insane movies, small
dude, History
pictures.
of Violence, you got a lot of Vigo and Eastern Front. Dude, you got full front of Vigo. You
Oh,
got to see the
you got all
whole
of
kit and
Vigo,
caboodie.
all of Vigo and Eastern
You got
Promises.
all his kit and caboodie, daddy. All his kit and caboodie.
So these are my 10 best films, starting with number 10 of 2007. Number 10, I Am Legend. Banger.
Awesome. Really
Absolute
good.
banger.
Really
Number
good.
9, Atonement, Catholic Church scandal, but based on an incredible book that I had read and a really great film. Number 8, Knocked Up. Knocked Up is hilarious. It is funny the whole time.
Yeah.
It rattles in a whole generation of comedians. Number 7, Zodiac. Zodiac with
Mm.
RDJ and our man Gyllenhaal. Zodiac is a
Zodiac was
really,
actually really
really
good. I
good
agree.
movie. Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, Ethan Hawke and Phil Seymour Hoffman. It's a movie about a complicated family. Really, really
Uh-huh.
good. Number 5, American Gangster. Denzel. What
Mm.
up?
Mm.
Number 4, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. This is a really long
Really
movie.
good, but it's
Really,
good.
really long, really, really good,
Yeah.
but like really incredible picture. I'm not surprised that a movie like this didn't like sneak its way into Oscars just because of the length and the breadth of it. But if you got a weekend and you're willing to sit down in 1 or 2 sittings, this is a phenomenal picture. Number
Brad Pitt
3,
was really good. Casey
oh,
Affleck really good. There was a
so
bunch of
good.
guys that really nailed it in that movie.
Number 3, Superbad.
Mm.
Well, hey, Emma Stone, who are you? What's your deal? Do you want to just charm me for the rest of my life? Oh, okay. Let's start right now. Number 2,
Dude, that
dude.
movie also like, come on, that movie it was so good, and it really like, I mean, I don't know, I like people forget how funny that movie was. Also, I know for me, these eyes, like I
Uh,
must have
yeah,
sang that a
yep.
million fucking times.
Gone, baby, gone. That's Ben Affleck, man. That's Ben Affleck reinventing himself as a director and not just an
Mhm.
actor and getting incredible acclaim. And number 1, I'm going to go with the movie that was shooting in the same town, There Will Be Blood. Paul
Mm.
Thomas Anderson's masterpiece about greed and the darkness of the human spirit, starring DDL and our boy Paul Dano. So that's what I had for my top 10. The Academy agreed with me on No Country for Old Men, There Will Be Blood, and Atonement. Also, they nominated Michael Clayton, which is a really good movie starring George Clooney, and Juno,
Mm.
which I think is a great comedy. I just don't know
Mm.
that it doesn't really hold up. So
What, Juno?
I don't think Juno really holds up.
Yeah, try recasting that one. Wait, so Michael Cera had Juno and Superbad in the same year?
That's correct.
Oh, good for him.
There's a lot of people who had big years. Sarah had a big
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, meow. But yeah, so that's what I have. That's what I think were the those are my 10 best films and honorable mentions of 2007. For the most part, the Academy, I thought, got it pretty right. They had 3 of my top 10 films and one of my honorable mentions in there.
Yeah, I agree.
And
It was the
Michael
same
Clayton's
for
no
me.
slouch. It's no slouch.
No,
It's just
no,
wasn't right up there.
no, no. He was, yeah, perfectly fine. So, all right, Bern. Well, that was enough for round two. Let's move on to round three. Round three. Fight! All right, Bern. Now it's time for round three, the wild card and fun facts face off with a recasting. So let's delve into some intriguing trivia to add another layer to the debate. So I started off the last one, and you shall start off this one, my big dick friend.
Here's a fun fact about the film No Country for Old Men. Originally, the Coen brothers were pursuing Heath Ledger
Mm.
to play the lead role of Llewellyn Moss. But Josh Brolin was shooting a film. He heard that it had yet to be cast. He really wanted this role. So he asked some of the writers and directors on the set of the movie he was shooting if they would help him out. Those writers and directors were Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino as they were shooting their epic back-to-back Grindhouse film. Tarantino and Rodriguez lit the set and shot an audition film. They directed Josh Brolin in his audition film for No Country for Old Men. Apparently, when the Coen brothers got the film, they were very impressed with Brolin, but more impressed with whoever lit the scene because it was that professionally done. So Heath Ledger almost got it, but Brolin was like, "Hey, I got to ask a few buddies. Can you help me shoot this scene?" And his buddies were Robbie Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. And needless to say, Brolin got the job. Over to you, Manny.
All right, Bern. That was a fun fact, but did you know this about the movie Inception? So Leonardo DiCaprio plays Cobb, but there were other actors considered. That's right. Christopher Nolan always wanted DiCaprio to play his main character, but just in case Leo turned it down or was unavailable, he had two other big names on the leash. First one, Brad Pitt, Mr. Pizza. I think Pitt would have done fine. I just don't know if he has the seriousness for the movie. And then the other one, Big Willie style up in it, Big Will Smith. So could you imagine Will Smith as Inception? Hancock himself, I don't know if he could have pulled it off either. Both are great actors, but I think Leo was the only guy that could have played Cobb. And that's nuts on your chin. Burn, back to you. Yeah.
Not only was shooting in Texas a problem for No Country for Old Men because of the North Texas weather, but Paul Thomas Anderson was also a problem for them as well. See, No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood were shooting in the same town in North Texas at the exact same time, which is insane. Both these movies went on to be nominated for Best Picture that year. Apparently, during one day of filming, Paul Thomas Anderson blew up an oil rig as a test for a shot he was going to make the next day on There Will Be Blood. It delayed shooting on No Country for Old Men for 7 hours as a thick black oil cloud hung over their set for almost an entire day. So it's funny to think about all the money that goes into making these movies, but every once in a while you have two A-list directors making monster movies 8 miles away from each other, and they're just fucking with each other's process. I think that's kind of hilarious, and I love that idea.
All right, Bern. Well, did you know this about the incredible movie Inception? Joseph Gordon-Levitt wasn't Nolan's first choice to play Arthur. So before Joseph Gordon-Levitt was cast as Point Man Arthur, Nolan was in discussion with James Franco to play the character. Talks fell through, though, when they were scheduling conflicts with the movie 127 Hours, which Franco started. When Joseph Gordon-Levitt went to the audition, he didn't know anything about the part because Nolan wouldn't let anybody read the script, but went dressed in a full suit just in case and unknowingly matched Arthur's wardrobe perfectly. So there you go.
Here's a not so fun fact for Javier Bardem about his role as Anton Chigurh in the film No Country for Old Men. The haircut was inspired by a photograph of a man standing outside of a brothel in that very same West Texas town in 1979. Chigurh, who did not wear a wig, actually got the haircut said to the Coen brothers, I better win an Oscar for this because I'm not going to get laid for the next 3 months. Luckily for Javier Bardem, he did win an Oscar for that film. And I'm willing to bet that he may have gotten laid in that West Texas town once or twice,
Yeah.
even while rocking that haircut shooting
Yeah.
the film. When asked, the Coen brothers asked why they wanted that haircut, they said, well, he looks like a sociopath. I mean, look at it. That's how they sold it to Bardem, and then he agreed to get the haircut. I mean, actor's actor right there, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was great, Bern. But did you know this about the movie Inception? DiCaprio wasn't just an actor on the film. That's right. DiCaprio turns in a fantastic performance as Cobb, but even more impressively, he played a major role in shaping the script and improving the character. Nolan said this: Leo made some extraordinary contributions to the script and really challenged us to make the script clear and also to follow its logic. The work he did on the character made the movie less of a puzzle and more of a story of a character audiences could relate to. So, because of DiCaprio's suggestions, Nolan upped the personal drama stakes that surround Cobb and his children and wanting to get back home. How about that? So, what do you
Wow,
got, Bern?
that's wild. I don't know if it's just because where I am right now in my life, but I've watched Inception a bunch of times and never really got emotional about it. And
Mm-hmm.
then watching again today about this idea of like never being able to go home and never seeing your children again and having this idea of who your wife was, even though, that idea is gone.
Yeah.
Uh, I feel like I watched it through new eyes today. I was a little more emotional watching Inception today.
Yeah.
And the fact that they let DiCaprio make those decisions, I think is really important because it was a level that I didn't realize existed. Anywho, back to my
Thanks
movie,
for opening up, Bern.
No Country for Old Men. This is a game changer, right? Josh Brolin gets this role. He's back in the saddle. He's newly sober. He's recommitted to acting. And then the day after he was cast, his motorcycle collided with a car, uh, giving him an incredibly serious shoulder injury, resulting in a separated shoulder and two surgeries. They got around this by just having him get shot early in the movie so that he could walk around for the rest of the film with a kind of hunched look. So that's actually Josh Brolin's fairly broken shoulder the whole movie. They just added a scene early on where he takes a bullet, and I thought it. I mean, I never would have noticed that he had an actual injured shoulder. Uh, what a fucking actor, man!
Yeah.
They just wrote
Yeah.
it in. They're like, "Oh yeah, you look like shit, and half your body doesn't work. We're just gonna shoot you early, and then go go do everything else you were gonna do."
Dude, shout out to the Coen brothers too. Like we've said before, Ridley
Smart.
Scott was really great at but problem solving. They're
Yep.
problem solvers. Absolutely incredible. That's great stuff, Bern. But did you know this fun and interesting fact about the movie Inception? Tom Hardy misunderstood the reason he'd been cast. So Tom Hardy, and this was kind of this is when we started to see the real brilliance of Tom Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
He plays the master forger of the group, Ames. Hardy thought he'd been cast because of his performance in the biographical film Bronson, which you see his full schmeckle, but it was
Mm-hmm.
actually because Nolan had seen him in Guy Ritchie's Rock and Rolla. Great movie, and Tom Hardy plays like a secondary B-roll guy. He plays Handsome Bob, and
Yeah,
he
but he's
nailed it.
so good.
Yeah. So when production started, Hardy constantly referenced Bronson and told Nolan until eventually Nolan said, "To be honest, Tom, I've never seen it." Hardy's character Ames is named after Charles and Ray Ames, who in the 1950s were a married couple known as furniture designer architects and for their avant-garde documentaries. So he named it after a couple of gay guys because Handsome Bob was secretly gay in Rock and Roll, and it's a great scene with who's the fucking guy, 300, Gerard Butler. There's a
Butler.
great scene with Gerard Butler and Tom Hardy was like, "You can't be gay, you're handsome, you're handsome, you can't be gay, you're handsome Bob, you get all the chicks, you're handsome Bob." So it was awesome.
Oh,
So there you
oh,
go, Handsome Bob.
I mean, that's wrapping up our section. But I will tell you, after rewatching Inception, Tom Hardy's my favorite character in that whole movie. He's every second he's on teaser. When he tosses the explosive to the guy driving the Jeep in the snow and then gives him the thumbs up as it explodes, that's just such a fuck you move. I love Ames in Inception.
Yeah, really good. So, all right, Bern. Well, that does it for the trivia portion of this. Let's move on to the recasting, everyone's new favorite thing. Here we go. All right, Bern, it's time to recast. So here's how I'm going to recast. So you're recasting Inception. I'm recasting No Country for Old Men. We're doing a little swap ski. So the characters I'll be recasting in No Country for Old Men, I'm going to be recasting Ed Tom Bell, played by Tommy Lee Jones. I'm going to be recasting Anton Chigurh, played by Javier Bardem. I'm going to be recasting Llewellyn Moss, played by Josh Brolin. And I'll be recasting Carson Wells, played by Woody Harrelson. And then I'll be recasting Carla Jean Moss, played by Kelly MacDonald. So here we go. This is what I got. So to replace Kelly MacDonald, I went with the beautiful and amazing Kat Dennings. I got, barefoot and pregnant kind of Kat Dennings you could do for that. Then for Woody Harrelson, you need someone slick, you need someone smooth talking. You need someone good looking and sharp. Who else would I go with, Bern, but the one and only Glenn fucking Powell. Glenn Powell for Woody Harrelson. It was an obvious choice. We all knew it.
Had to be.
When researching this film, I got a little inspiration. When researching Inception, I got a little inspiration for this movie. So I'll talk about that later. But, well, all right. So to replace Tommy Lee Jones, I went with someone, we brought him up earlier, the one and only Viggo Mortensen to replace Tommy Lee Jones.
Love it.
Yeah, very good. Then to replace Josh Brolin, I went with the always handsome and forever great Joseph Gordon-Levitt, replacing Josh Brolin.
Wow.
Yep. And then, dude, to replace Javier Bardem, I'm going with Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh,
and if that's not perfect recasting, I don't know what is.
No,
Joaquin Phoenix for Bardem. You could put. He's got the same hair in Joker.
Dude, you don't even need to. You don't even need to explain it.
It works.
It just moves right in. It works perfectly. Dead-eyed psychopath. Is this guy fucking with me? Is he not fucking with me? Is he gonna kill me? Is he gonna eat me? Is he gonna buy me a sandwich?
Is he gonna carry around a tube, an air canister?
Yeah.
Come on. What are we doing here? So
that was good, Maddie. That was good.
Let me give you my recap. So here we go. So recasting Kelly MacDonald's character, Carla Jean Moss, I'll be putting in Kat Dennings. And she's got a great rack too. Great rack.
Oh,
yeah, all-time rack.
I mean, top 10. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Great. All natural, great rack. Then to recast Woody Harrelson's character, Carson Wells, I'll be putting in the devilishly handsome Glenn Powell. You know him, you love him. Glenn Powell. He can do it all. Glenn Powell. I could have put Glenn Powell in every role. Even Kelly MacDonald. She's Glenn Powell.
This will be the first. That'll be the first L Glenn Powell's taken in like a long time. Just because of the way the character works out, Glenn Powell's always winning. This will be the one of the first on-screen L's for Glenn Powell and maybe ever.
Yeah, well, I bet he could pull it off.
Hey, we'll see.
And then to replace Tommy Lee Jones's character, Ed Tom Bell, I'm putting Viggo Mortensen, and I'm talking an older Viggo Mortensen, and I'm saying we're talking Green Book Viggo Mortensen, but maybe not as heavy, or maybe not as Italian. More country version of that guy.
Not as
bigger,
heavy, not as Italian.
Slower.
Yeah.
But
I think he'd crush.
Yeah. And then to replace Josh Brolin's character, Llewellyn Moss, I'm going to put in Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He'll absolutely nail it. Nails the aesthetic, everything like that.
It came out of nowhere. I love it.
Yeah. And then to replace Javier Bardem's iconic character, Anton Chigurh, it's Joaquin Phoenix, and there's no one else. Defy me if you dare.
No.
There is no one else.
That haircut, that Canadian tuxedo. I mean, I can see it standing clearly in front of me.
I can imagine him having the conversation with the guy at the gas station as well.
Oh
Same
yeah,
conversation. Yeah.
and the guy being just as fucking creeped out about
Yeah. Yeah.
like maybe even more creeped out about it.
So
Um,
that was my recasting in 5
great
minutes,
job,
Bern.
Maddie.
So there you
Great,
go.
great job, Maddie. All right. Well, Matt, again, you prove to be inspired. You always catch me where I'm not thinking you're going to go.
Yeah.
I will be dropping my recasting right now for Christopher Nolan's Inception. I recast 6 characters,
Got it.
not just 5. All right. I recast Cobb, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. I recast
Uh-huh.
Arthur, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay.
I recast Aradni, played by Ellen slash Elliot Page. I
Sure.
recast Mal, played by Marion Cotillard. And then I did Fisher, who was played by Cillian Murphy, and Saito, who was played by Ken Watanabe.
Oh,
I felt
all
like those
great.
were the most important characters.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with Fisher, initially played by Cillian Murphy. I'm going to recast Fisher, Robert Pattinson. I want to put
Excellent.
Robert Pattinson in that role.
Yep. Totally see it.
Saito, I didn't initially have recast, but upon watching the movie again, I realized what a huge part of it he actually is. He's there the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I am going to cast Dev Patel in the Saito role. We can change his
Uh,
name if we have to, but
from Slumdog Millionaire.
Slumdog Millionaire, from Monkey Man, from all this stuff that he's actually done some action stuff recently, and he's really
Yeah.
good and
He
really
was in
understated.
Newsroom as well, I believe.
Yes, he was. Recasting Mal, the Marianne Cotillard part, the wife
This
of
is gonna be
Cobb
tough.
who chases him through whatever. I cheated a little bit. I leaned on the accent. I went Gal Gadot.
Dude, I would have bet money you went Gal.
I mean, she just seemed like the slam
Also,
dunk there.
the beauty has to pop off the screen.
She's
Like
got to
that was
be so stunning, like you
yeah,
can't take your eyes off of her.
agreed. That was like I remember I think it was either that or what's what's the gangster movie with her and Johnny Depp? But it was
Oh,
something outlaw.
when he played
Yeah.
Dillinger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
American Outlaw maybe or something like that. But either way, I don't know which one was my first introduction to her, but I just remember thinking, God damn, that's beauty.
she's
That's
got to be so
beauty.
stunning that other people, like the other dream makers, are like, "Hey, who's that lady over there?" Like, "Oh, wait,
Yeah.
that's just yeah, that's my ex-wife. Let's
And
not
it's
get into it
like,
right
damn, all
now."
right, Cobb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not too shabby,
I'd be
bro.
fucking dreaming up shit too, babe. There you go.
Uh,
All right, so go ahead.
Rodney was initially played by Ellen Page. Uh,
Mhm.
I'm going Maisie Williams for this
Love
role.
it.
I think
Absolutely love it.
she would be. She's
Yes.
bright-eyed. She's excited. She's smart. She wants
Bushy
to walk
tailed.
away from it, but she gets back and goes like, "There's nothing quite like this. There's nothing quite
Yeah.
like this experience."
Excellent pull. Excellent pull.
I feel like I might be leaning on this guy too much, so I might have to retire him for a few weeks. But playing Arthur's Joseph Gordon-Levitt part, I'm going with Nicholas Hoult. I think he is going to be right there. He's got to be sharp dressed. He's got to be logical, but he's got to be able to get
You
saucy when it's
know,
time to get
oh
saucy.
man, if
This was a
if I
tough one
could
for me. My
if I
toughest
could
one was
throw
this.
something in,
I'd love to hear it.
so it's another Game of Thrones guy, but Ewan Rowan, he played
Oh,
Ramsay Bolton.
Ramsey Bolton.
I think he would do an excellent job.
I would rather. Listen. I'll take yours. I'll take you and
But
Bolton.
he's not, but the thing is,
But is he?
he's too much of a villain.
Is he
It's
level head?
awkward
Yeah,
to see it's awkward to see him being like calm, cool, collective, and like a good right hand man because you just can't trust him. And like you need to trust Arthur implicitly. So
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
maybe not so
No,
much,
I think I'm going with
but
Nick Holt, but I think that's the weakest of my casting.
yeah.
Honorable mention. Shout out to Eames, played by Tom Hardy. I would go with Charlie Hunnam, and my Cobb, my Leo. And this is nearly impossible to do because he was so good in this movie. I'm going Jake Gyllenhaal. I really think Gyllenhaal could pull it off. Maybe I'm higher on Gyllenhaal than most people are, but there was just such a short list of people I could find who would possibly be able to play that role. And I think Gyllenhaal's my guy. So, in recap, 6 characters. Saito, originally played by Ken Watanabe, will be played by Dev Patel. Fisher, initially played by Cillian Murphy, will be played by Robert Pattinson. Maul, initially portrayed by Marion Cotillard, will be played by Gal Gadot. Ariadne, originally played by Ellen Page, will be played by Maisie Williams. Arthur, originally played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, will be played by Nicholas Hoult. And Cobb, initially played by Leonardo DiCaprio, will be played by Jake Gyllenhaal.
All right, Bern. Well, that does it for round 3.
Here
Time
we
to
go.
move on to round 4. Round 4. Fight! All right, Bern. We're here to see where
Nervous.
the metal meets.
Nervous.
Dude, I am so nervous for
I'm
this
so
one.
nervous.
I am so nervous.
Both these movies are so fucking good.
Oh, they're so good. They're so absolutely good. Either one of them deserves to go. Either director deserves to go. So we're coming to round 4. In round 4, we're going to reach out to our AI overlords, the one and only Gemini, and we're going to ask them which movie they think is better. And then that movie will be moving on to the finals to face off against Steven Spielberg. Obviously, Spielberg would be there. If you haven't heard the Steven Spielberg semifinals, it's him versus Ridley Scott, and it was Alien versus Saving Private Ryan, and it was dude, like
knockdown,
heavyweight slugfest, knockout,
15-rounder.
drag out,
15-rounder,
dude, championship rounds, like awesome battle, you know, great movie, 2 different decades, just battling out back and forth, mano y mano.
The best of the goddamn best. That's what we're here to bring you guys. The best of the goddamn best.
Yeah. So, okay. So here we go. This is the other person going to the finals of the first ever Director's Cup. Here we go. So I reached out to Gemini. I said, hello, Gemini. Can you please tell us what movie is better, Inception or No Country for Old Men? And this is what Gemini had to say. They said thus. They said, this is a challenging choice, as both Inception and No Country for Old Men are masterfully crafted films that excel in different ways. However, if I must choose, they're going to lean slightly, they said, exact words, lean slightly towards Inception. And here's why. It's first off, it says groundbreaking concept and execution. Inception presents a truly original and complex concept executed with stunning visual effects and compelling narrative. The dream within a dream structure and the exploration of the subconscious are both intellectually stimulating and visually captivating. So true. And then,
no argument.
Yeah, next thing it says scale and ambition. Inception is a film of immense scale and ambition, pushing the boundaries of cinematic storytelling. The intricate plot, breathtaking action sequences, and thought-provoking themes create a truly immersive and unforgettable experience. So true. Like, No Country for Old Men is an incredible thriller. No, dude, redid the genre, put the Coen Brothers on another level, even though they were already killing it. But this movie changed the way we watch movies.
No Country for Old Men is an exceptional movie, but the boots are very firmly on the ground in that film. And in Inception, we're going to places that we haven't quite
never been
seen before.
So the next thing that AI says is its impact on culture and popular culture. Inception has had a significant impact on popular culture, sparking countless discussions and interpretations. Its iconic scenes and memorable lines have become ingrained in the collective consciousness. So it goes on to say, while No Country for Old Men is a brilliant and chilling neo-Western with exceptional performances and a haunting atmosphere, Inception's originality, ambition, and cultural impact give it a slight edge. So ultimately, both films are masterpieces that deserve to be celebrated, but to make it to the finals of the first ever Director's Cup, it isn't personal, just comes down to preference, and it's Inception. So, dude, in the finals of the first ever Director's Cup, we have Steven Spielberg versus Christopher Nolan, and we got a lot to talk about.
Holy shit,
lot to talk about, dude.
I mean, this is going to be incredible. And I want to point something out for our listeners, watchers, and retorts out there. Maddie and I went back and forth between directors as well.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
represented Nolan a week ago with Memento. He
Yeah.
had Nolan tonight with Inception.
Yep.
We split the Coen brothers. We split Ridley
Yeah.
Scott. The point is, we're not here to cap for just one guy that one of us might specifically like. We're trying to give you a really honest breakdown of what these things are. We thought the
Yeah.
best way to do that would be by splitting directors so we don't show any favoritism.
True.
We are just, Matt and I are even more excited than you guys are. I hope. I am super excited. Nolan v. Spielberg. I can't. We got to
Dude.
talk after this pod and see what we're going to do here. We got,
yeah.
oh my
I
God,
have
there's
no
so
clue.
much.
Like, there's so also like we have to save something for because this is, I'm trying to think this could be the NFC, and we still got an AFC we got to deal with because there's plenty of directors out there. So to get the director's bowl or whatever, I don't know what we're gonna call it, but man, this has been what a wild ride.
What a trip. What a journey.
Just what a trip. We're to the finals. So if you haven't checked out any of the other episodes about the Director's Cup, they've all been battles, just battles that have, you can't call it. You go back and forth and back to see, but they've all been great. And, speaking of just another great show, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives Podcast presents Ask AI. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied by the one and only Bern Podcasty. In case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content in all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You also on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. Join us on Twitter and TikTok at Working P Pod. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And please like and subscribe, and we'll keep bringing you this incredible content. We love you all so much, and you've been nothing but amazing. Thanks. See you.